Okay, the video for today is going to be a special connector for this tiny cooling fan on a heatsink. Now this connector is way smaller, but so long as you have the appropriate diameter needles, it should work. Okay, so for this, you're going to need a caliper so you can measure the dimensions of the connector, a ruler, possibly, the eraser, a razor blade, a pen, the needles, and a pair of vice grips. Okay, so first off, you can either use your ruler or your caliper and measure the dimensions of the connector that goes to the main board on the computer. And it so happens this one is 7.61. Then you'll measure off the appropriate amount of eraser and cut it down with your razor blade. Now you have to be really careful in using a razor blade. This isn't a kid's project. This is a grown-up one. Okay, so you cut off your appropriate amount of razor. Once you've measured it and written down the dimensions that you need. So I've done this off camera just to make it a little bit quicker video. So here you go. Now what you'll do is you'll place your needles into the connector. Okay. And there you go. So now you can use a pair of pliers or even your fingertips, so long as you hold it to the appropriate dimensions. You'll measure off exactly where the needles need to go and then push them through. Okay. Now you'll notice that the needles are a little bit too close to each other. So what you're going to want to do is measure off the appropriate length of the needles on your vice grip. Then push a little bit extra through. Okay, and then you grip it in your vice grips. Have the needle stick out just a little bit. And then you take it and you put a 45-degree bend in it. Okay. Now do the same thing with your other needle. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. Okay, so you do the same thing with your other needle and measure out the appropriate amount to stick out. And you bend it at a 45. Okay, hold on. Let me try that again. And then you take it, you grip it, and bend it to a 45. At least. Then you'll take your eraser, and you should have placed a couple of little marks into it already. There it is. One here, straight through to the other side. Push this one out of the way, and then you take your other needle and you place it in the same position as you had it before, and then push it straight through. There you go. One specialty connector. And then you'll put it the appropriate color to the appropriate wire. Okay, this takes a little bit of finesse. Okay, there you go. There you go, one specialty connector. Now what you want to do is you want to take your alligator clips and clip this to this. You'll want to heat shrink right there to the gap. Take some heat shrink tubing or even some electrical tape and make sure that those two wires don't touch. Okay? And you put your alligator clips on here, or you can even do hot glue. Okay, you can hot glue this to this connector or to the previous connector. You can take it and do the same thing. The one for the fan. Take it and hot glue this together. Okay, so there you go. Your specialty connector for your cooling fan, your CPU cooling fan. Right there. Easy as could be. One of the easiest setups possible. Okay, so long as you take a little bit of heat shrink tubing and make sure that gap doesn't, those two don't touch each other. Matter of fact, you can even bend them a little bit further out of the way. But I think heat shrink tubing ought to do it. Okay, there you go. One specialty connector for one fan. Now you don't have to remove the connector off of the main board of the computer, so long as you know how to make your own. The eraser acts as an insulator, so long as those two don't touch, you'll be fine. And if they do touch, it should not short out the CPU fan, but it might short out your power supply, whatever you go connecting to this. So just make sure those two wires never ever touch. Do yourself a favor and heat shrink them down. So that's the video for today. We'll see you on the next one.